This video is going to be a collection of pieces of information that are useful, I hope, but they're kind of just pieces and parts for other videos or a video that never happened. So here we are. First of all, the name I'm going to give this list of things concerns the ATF FFL Federal Firearms Licensing, New York City and Los Angeles area, California, dimensionally compliant weaponry, featureless weapons, and firearm versus pistol versus rifle versus shotgun versus any other weapon versus, basically FFL stuff. Because things that fall under the Federal Firearms Licensing, or the NFA actually specifically, National Firearms Act, all have specifics about them that are getting, depending on who builds what these days, it gets vague. So here we are. A couple of quotes. If the goal is banning detachable magazines in rifles, pistols, and shotguns that hold more than some value, like 6 rounds, and if a revolver or speed loader has parts that are intended to make it so speedy that they are functionally the equivalent to a detachable magazine, aka the revolver is sometimes, the cylinder is sometimes called a drum magazine, which is kind of misleading. They all could be banned as well, or just ban all detachable magazines as well. And then we will make bullet buttons and fast tool-free takedown rifles to make it to where the integrated ones are just simply a easy plug-in or easy switch-out. See also people making speed loaders for shotguns that throw all the shells in at once, and people learning how to do it 2 at a time in quad loading by doing 2 movements of 2 at a time, or hex loading where they pinch one cartridge in their hand and then grab the front and back of the other and use the thumb as an extension on somewhat short shells and putting 6 in 2 movements. John Wick style. Because it's not John Wick style. It was something that was invented for people to do competition clay and pigeon shooting. That's literally it. It's for shooting clays. Length of pull. There's an argument about that, about 13.5 inches being too long of a distance between, length of pull is the distance from the middle of the face of the trigger to the end of the gun's buttstock or brace in its longest configuration. And then it was decided it has to be in line with the bore axis, meaning you can't find a way to make the numbers larger just because you want to be able to get a conviction. And you have to err on the side of, if the person isn't overtly trying to get around some rule by putting a buttstock on a pistol, you can't call it a buttstock and you can't do that. But decisions are made. So are mistakes. A firearm intended to be fired from the shoulder with an overall length of 26 inches and a buttstock can be any of the following if you make it generic. Nothing unusual or special. A rifle, which would have a 16-inch minimum barrel and a 10-inch body from the breech face back to the buttstock, minimum, which is way too short for it to be anything anybody would consider valid. Firing a fixed metallic cartridge, and you could have it be a shotgun with an 18-inch minimum barrel firing a fixed shotgun shell. So it'd be 18 inches long, and out of 26 inches, that would be, we're like 8 inches more? Yeah. They can have any length of pull as long as they're 26 inches long. You could put the trigger up near the muzzle. Yes, there's a gun like that. Yes, it's just what it sounds like. You can also put it at the other end, at the buttstock, and have it be a pistol handle. Can have any length of pull. The trigger can be anywhere, as long as it's made to look like a conventional rifle or shotgun. Any other weapon less than 26 inches long, that's what AOW is, would be considered concealable as any other weapon, and is exempt from any kind of restrictions if it has a rifled barrel and is dimensionally compliant and defined as a handgun or pistol, Anything unusual looking or anything disguised to look like something else would be defined in certain ways. If you make it look like an umbrella, it's not acceptable. Doesn't matter what the length is. You're disguising a weapon. Attaching a pistol stabilizing brace to a handgun doesn't alter that classification as a handgun. But no matter what you call the attachment at the end of the pistol, unless it's got a 16-inch long barrel, it has to be 16 inches long, you can't make the length of pull longer than 13.5 inches, because at that point it's more of a buttstock than anything. But you're allowed to shoulder something 13.5 inches long or lower or shorter and make it act like a little rifle, and just as long as you don't have a 16-inch barrel. You put a 16-inch barrel on it, you put a buttstock on it. Otherwise it's a short-barreled rifle, and or a short overall length, because it's 16 inches, and remember, the trigger pull distance is length of pull. So some bright boy, came up with a combination where it was treated as a pistol, or accurately, firearm, because it was at least a firearm, they could get that definition. And it had a really short barrel, like a pistol, and it had a short buttstock compared to length of pull. But they put the trigger in a bizarrely long distance up on the barrel. So the 13-inch distance was from the buttstock to the trigger, and the entire thing was a bullpup that was 16 inches, and it was under 26 inches. And it kind of defeats the purpose of making non-concealable rifles if you can make the whole damn thing from the buttstock out to the barrel, an accurate shooting weapon that is under the limit you want. But okay, they had to do something with pistols. Any weapon originally designed, made, or intended to fire and be gripped by one hand using a short stock or handle at any angle to and extending below the line of the bore and chambered permanently, and bore and chamber permanently aligned with said bore, is treated as a pistol. If the lower receiver was first built as a rifled barrel pistol, it can be part swapped into anything you want, including adding a 16-inch rifled barrel, and you can even put a long buttstock on it. You can do anything with the stocks and length of pull, as if the overall length is under 26 inches, you can have an angled grip only, and it has to be a pistol. But an overall length is 26 inches, you can have a vertical or angled grip, as adding any grip to this rifle is perfectly legal. And this caused it to have, this is part of the Thompson Center one, somebody actually got a hold of one of these, got a hold of a contender that can convert back and forth, and didn't know what he had his hands on, so I commented some of this. And what this is because as long as you never let it ever turn into something that's illegal, you're fine. But now we have a max limit. Not supposed to put 16-inch barrels on it. Well, wait a minute. But no, you can add a long barrel. What's an assault pistol? We'll get to that in a minute. You can put, the decision in court for the Thompson Center. If the firearm had a blank 100% lower, meaning it was a firearm only, it could only be defined that way. It didn't have any handle, buttstock, any particular barrel that went with it. And especially if you made it to where it could hold any barrel, put it in center position, hit it with center fire, and fire anything from whatever caliber all the way up to shotgun shells. It could be a rifle, pistol, shotgun. Configure it any way you want to. And if you could just buy parts for it easily, or have a gunsmith fix it, you could do that. Or if it came as a parts kit, or aggregate parts could be converted back and forth. The assumption is always it's ATF legal because you can't assume that just because the person has a short barrel and a buttstock, they're going to combine that because they can. That doesn't mean they will. You have to actually catch them doing it, not assume the worst. You have to have a restraint on your actions. And yeah, you can put a shotgun barrel on it too. Which meant if you started it off with a pistol as the design, or no purpose invented, it was just a lower and you serialized it, or if you make it and it starts off as a lower, they can take all sorts of barrels and stuff. It's perfectly legal because you designed it on purpose to not have any limits on it. Just have to somehow document it. And more importantly, the onus is on the opponent to prove you intended to do something else when you clearly have all the parts in the box with it for every barrel and every handle and every buttstock you want. Assault pistols are redefining any banned semi-automatic pistol that's listed based on it being used too much for negative reputation value, for instance, by gangs and that sort of thing. Next. In Hawaii, they decided to ban specifically AR-15 pistols, so they created a weird designation that if it was a foot long to 16 inches long and a pistol, it had to be a banned weapon. Because technically, at nearly 16 inches long, and you had an overall length change, you could suddenly turn it into a rifle and have a legal rifle, and they just didn't want to deal with it. Pistol grips which protrude conspicuously below any portion of the action of a weapon when firing it that is not integrated with a straight or shoulder stock were regulated originally by the assault weapons ban only if it was auto-loading and had a detachable magazine outside of the pistol grip. Yes, people made AR-15s that had the entire magazine act as a pistol grip to get around this. Some states still regulate pistol grips as a feature based on perceived paramilitary or non-sporting application, appearance, configuration, or scary factor, or because it's not within the handle, because it's the most convenient place to put pistol ammunition. And yes, someone created a 223, 5.56, and a 7.62 apparently, pistol cartridge length so you could get your hand around the magazine, and that's a whole other video. Do not put a full shoulder stock on any pistol or handgun, or it's a $5 tax to any other weapon. That's a $200 tax to stay out of prison, and shorten a weapon down. Don't shorten a weapon down to a firearm below 26 inches overall if it was originally assembled only as a long gun. It has to start off as a pistol or as not committed to any design. If it was not originally designed or made intended to fire a projectile by one hand only, if it was then you can't do the shortening. And you have to do it in stages, almost like a ritual. Cops may still arrest you, not because they're ignorant about ATF laws, but they enforce, but because you're ignorant about laws they enforce locally. Many cities and states have specific rules against basically AR-15s and whatever. It doesn't matter. You just have to deal with it. Follow the laws. Mass killings take a disproportionate toll on humans psychologically and spiritually, and all the dead from drunk drivers, drive-bys, and suicides are just statistics for most of these people. Look up military underbarrel shotgun add-ons for rifles like the mag-fed Seymour, the M26 modular accessory shotgun system, or Knight's Armament Master Key Door Breach Remington 870 pump shotgun underbarrel module, or the Roman candle style electronically fired multi-shot accessory underbarreled launcher. Why I'm bringing those up? Those are any other weapons that are legal, including for ordinary people. There's no actual restrictions on owning any of these things. There's only restrictions on you making them unless you get permission from the ATF. It's always a $5, $200, or $205 tax. It's you pay for it. And I'm just throwing all this together. Links below in the description. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Wish me luck.